Welcome back to episode 3 in the Director of Football Challenge here in Kolding IF, where we have reached the split to the table in our first season. We had 4 games to play before the split, but against some rather hard opponents, right? Sønderjyske, Hobro and Horsens, not easy. And yeah, we had 2 wins and 2 draws. I am extremely happy about that, and yet again, Lasse Holmgaard, he proved that he is the man to continue as the manager for now. Also worth noting that Ngongo here, he's been on fire. He's probably in his best form ever. So that's also very good. Which leads me to injury problems. Oh, we have a lot of injury problems, because Ngongo would never play if we had a fit Mustafa Isa. He hasn't played a single game, Mustafa Isa. And that also goes along for some of the other players in here. If you just take a look from here, right? Let's take from February and onwards. How many moderate and minor kind of issues we have on some of the very important players in here. Nøjer, Ingvarsson, Tjørnelund. It's crazy how many we have had. So we definitely are, if you think about it, right? Those 8 points that we gained is even more incredible. Just because of that. And that means we have a 3rd place here in the, what is it called, preliminary phase. And we still have everything to play for. To be honest, I doubt we're gonna catch up to Fredericia, and even more OB. OB is not, we're not gonna catch up to 47 points. We got 36, right? We are not gonna catch them. They are just so much, they have so much better quality than we do. I am surprised that we are sitting where we are sitting right now. That is incredible in itself. But it wasn't actually, if we had lost that last match and maybe Sønderjyske had won theirs, or even Næstved had won theirs, we would be out of it. Maybe we could potentially have been out of it. There was a scenario where we would not have gotten enough points to actually be in the qualifier group. But yeah, we are, and it's looking very, very good for us. In other news, we ran out of money to scout with, actually already back in February, so there is just no scouting anymore. So I am preparing for the future, changing the focus over here to be leaning towards finding youngsters with the direct scouting here. But that's not going to be before next season. Thankfully, we already have a pretty good build-up in our shortlist. If we just take a look in the, I've also changed it up here, but let's just take a look in this one, right? We got a couple here, we got a good amount here, actually quite a few. So yeah, we do have some that are interested in coming, some are not, and we also got the under 20s and stuff. Many of these probably is loan deals if they're coming in. But in any case, we have a pretty good amount of players in our shortlist, so I'm not too worried about not being able to scout right now. Our finances, I think they look better than what I could have feared. We do spend too much on wages, but with money coming in throughout the entire season, spread out it's actually a little bit strange, but you get money like in intervals, kind of. So this month we actually gained 622 in prize money from the Nordic Bet Liga, and as you can see, total 1.1. So it's like we get them in intervals, right? So it might be okay right now in terms of our wage budget. But even with that, we are likely gonna end the season in a minus. And a lot of that has to do with staff wages, right? We that's a lot of money, isn't it? We are spending 400k so far on staff wages. That is only 288k less than the player wages. That is way too high compared to quality. We got an absolutely massive backroom, and not many of them are good enough to really deserve the wages they are on. So also we're gonna do quite an overhaul. At least it is needed to trim the fat here and also find some new ones that are just better in the summer. But yeah, that is gonna be the summer. Right now we need to focus on the league, of course, and also just getting through the rest of the season. We got 10 games to go here in the schedule, and what I think I'm gonna do is highlight some of the most interesting ones and show you how the game went, and also maybe some of the goals if there is any good or important ones. So yeah, here we go. First game of 10 was a draw in Hobro, which is disappointing for our unrealistic dream of a top 2. But at least NJ scored an absolutely banger of a goal. This was a big game. Fredericia is the team that we had to catch, and they are also our rivals, so at least I feel like they're our rivals. And they were on 45 points and us 37 before the game. And a draw here is not really ending that dream of getting the second place, but I am not rating our chances really high anymore, as this was the home game, right? So not too good here, I would say. In J is certainly looking more and more like the first option on the left-hand side now. That's a lovely curveball. Intake day is here, and it is a good day for any director of football, as that means money and possibilities. And it does seem like we are gonna have a really excellent intake here. Yeah, that's very good. As you can tell, they do have faces. That is some random generated faces from a face pack to give the game a little bit more personality down the line, I would say. I think we should go through these guys and maybe decide right away if we want to sign some of them, as these lads do seem to be, maybe there is something in there, maybe there is a gem in the making, so let's go through them. Malte Snappe, he is a goalkeeper, he was the first on the list and he does look fairly good. Reflexes of 14 is really high, and also decision making and determination is making me think, yeah, we want to sign this guy for sure. Let's see what we can do here. Approach to sign, future prospect, yeah. I think he is a future prospect, but we should probably go youngster instead. I don't know, it's like future prospect is a professional contract. I don't think, well, he is 16, so we have to think about that as well. He's fickle, so we would need to train that out of him, which for us, we don't think about that because we don't train them. So maybe we try to give him on a youngster here, because I don't like seeing that fickle thing. But let's see if he wants that. He only wants future prospect. Okay, let's do it then. Let's do it. It depends on how much he actually wants here. He wants 120. That's not a lot. That's not a lot, actually. Only for 9 months. Yeah, we at least want him for a year. Yeah, at least a year would be ideal here. But this, no thank you. This is a professional contract, right? I don't really... The problem with that is usually the professional contracts are a little bit... the contract length is not long when you're a semi-professional club. So you would rather have them on youngster contracts, so you have them for longer and develop them for longer, and then give them a professional contract in a year or maybe 2 years time. But in this case, 120 is quite a bit for a goalkeeper that he could potentially be a third choice next season. Not too far from it, I would say. So I think this is probably worth it, but I don't want to give him anything else, you know, in terms of higher wages and stuff down the line in percentage based. So let's just see. He want to come back. I'm gonna say this is minimum. This is minimum. I want you for at least 1.5 years. You can get 130. That's fine. He's gonna take it. Good. Finalized deal, and that's the first one done. Øystein Andersen. I don't know. That's not a very normal name in Denmark. This one, but yeah. Well, Andersen is, but not the first name here. Øystein. Very interesting name. So he is I think, attacking midfielder or maybe a midfielder or something like that. He's 15 years old. Reasonable left foot as well as a good right foot, of course. I mean, he do have a couple of really interesting aspects to him. Mainly the work rate and also the determination is 11, first touch 12, technique 14, passing 10. He got sort of the numbers we want to see, but he is lacking over here, but that could develop quite a bit. Balance is of course 14, so that's one thing down. So I don't think this is a bad player, but I don't think I want to... I have a feeling we might want to get a youngster contract on him. I think anything more than that would maybe not be good enough. But I think when he's 15, he's likely going to take a youngster contract. He also wants a future prospect. Let's see if we can get him to actually find a loan. Yeah, that might be something, but let's just remove that for now. He only wants a future prospect as well. That's interesting that they do want that. Is there anything over here thinking that we shouldn't do that? Not really. I mean, he is probably a Denmark's series standard, which is a couple of leagues below us. Do we take a gamble on him as well? I mean, it is wages that we're going to spend here, but maybe if it's like 120 again, it should be okay. Maybe it should be okay. Oh, I actually didn't want that in there, but I guess we do need to. That's a mistake from my part. Yeah, I mean, we would probably loan him out anyway, but let's see what he wants here. We know that this is going to be 1 year. We want that. And these two, I always remove that. I think we go with 120. That's fine because we are increasing the length and we're taking away some other things. So 120 again, probably okay. Now, I don't mind spending money on, especially that it's produced by our own club, right? Our own intake. I don't mind spending a little bit of money on that. Especially when I can also see that they could become good enough. And it's only gonna be 1.5 years anyway for this contract, so it should be okay. 120, let's try 120 again. There we go, 120. So we do have one more coming in. Stefan Lund, a 15-year-old ball-winning midfielder, maybe sort of thing in the central midfield role. I think he is probably around as good as the other guys, so 120 wages or a youngster contract would be good. Yes, exactly the same deal as the other two is agreed to. Let's finalize that one. There we go. Kasper Rasmussen, he is 16 and he is an inside forward. He does look fairly good for, you know, a 16-year-old. Very good flair, very good technique, also very decent physicals overall. I think he could develop into something we might even use next season as a third or fourth option. So I think same deal as the other, which is exactly what happened. There we go, 120 wages. Valdemar Poulsen, 15 years old. Yes, and he is a midfielder, sort of the type of an advanced playmaker, right? And I think he do have some really interesting numbers here. First touch 14, that is pretty high. Technique 14, teamwork 16, decision making is also 12, vision is 12, and agility is 12, so he's fairly good on the ball, I would say. Natural fitness of 16, so he will run all day, but I think his physicals are letting him down a little bit maybe in the future, but again, I'm thinking 120 wages here. There we go, 120 wages, that's perfect. Nikolai Thompson, he is a central defender, but this is where I think we might want to tighten up a little bit, as I think he might be not quite as good as the previous intakes. So let's see what he wants. None of them seems to want to be a youngster, which I understand, but I don't think this guy is worth 120 wages. I was like, maybe I should give him a year, but honestly, I don't think he's gonna be worth it, so I think we're gonna walk away from him. Leon Beck is a winger. He is, what, 15? Yeah, he is 15. Very, very good physicals, which is always gonna be good down here on a youngster. You do have the crossing as well and the technique, so I think we are, even the free kick taking is a little bit interesting. And very important to me, the determination. I tend to lean toward that if they do have that and maybe miss a lot of other things, it still might be okay. Especially because of the physicals here. I think we're gonna gamble 120 wages on this guy. Yep, there we are. He took the 120 wages as well. And I just checked up on the remainder here in good talents and also the last one here in decent talent. None of them feels any good to me. I'm not gonna take any more. So basically what we are spending is, how many players was that? 4 here, 5, 6. So 6 players. We're getting 6 players in, which was 120 wages each, so basically what, 800, 900 euros? So around the same number we are giving to a regular starter right now. So that's what we get for that kind of money, I suppose. I'm fairly happy with our intake. We got 6 players. If just one of them is gonna be good, it was all worth it. Another very, very big game here, and likely the decider in our dreams being crushed, as we lose 6-1 to the first spot Aalborg. Yeah, I mean, they are just so much better than us. It is the biggest defeat in the season too, but yeah, I don't think we got any chances anymore. Actually, let's see how the league table is right now. We got 8 points up to Fredericia now, so I think we need a small miracle to get there. I suppose all the matches are important by now, but a 2-2 here against Horsens at home is, yeah, I think that actually killed both of our chances to catch Fredericia, because Horsens was the other team sitting with the same amount of points as us. So I think it just killed any chances for both teams. We did manage to find a win here against Vendsyssel in a 3-1. 4 shots, 3 on target on 0.6 XG. I think I call that clinical. Well, it is kind of out of our control, but this is of course a massive win for the boys. 3-0 away from home against Fredericia. Yes, again, extremely clinical here. Look at that, 3 goals, 1.03 in XG. Okay, we are in it, but it's still out of our control probably. Yes, it is possible now, and there is 4 games to go after that one, so we got 5 points up to Fredericia. It is still extremely unlikely to happen, because they do need to lose as well, and we need to win, but at least it is making the last couple of games interesting. This was a must-win game against Hobro. that we did not manage to win, but not all is lost as Fredericia managed to lose their match. So, which means we are only 4 points behind them now with 3 matches to go. This was of course the most likely fixture to put an end to our dream once and for all. And it might be the case, but Fredericia haven't played yet, so let's go take a look at how they did, as a win would secure them promotion after our failure here against Aalborg. That was a draw, so I guess the dream is still alive, because if we go back to the competition here, we can see that we have, oh boy, yeah, we have 5 points up to them, so they need to lose both, we need to win both, basically. So, not gonna happen, I think, but we will see, we'll see. Not a whole lot of different things is happening in this window here in the spring, but we did manage to get a new contract. Of course, it's saying manager, but we know that we are the DOF, so we're gonna be here for another season. And there it is. Another draw is making sure that Fredericia is promoted, and we are staying where we are, of course, in the Bettliga. But it was a lot more exciting than I thought it would be, to begin with, at least. This was a pretty good run for us, I would say. And for the sake of it, let's also take a look at the last match of the season here against Vendsyssel. Unfortunately, it is a loss at home, and even more so because we only actually needed a draw to secure the 3rd spot. But no, we lost it against Vendsyssel on the 4th place, and they are now 3rd place. So that is not a good way to end the season. Well, I say that, but let's take a look at the table. There it is. 4th place, right? Just behind Vendsyssel, that snatched that 3rd place right from under us. They won it and they deserved it, apparently. But I think we can be overall extremely happy about this season. And I do believe there is a lot to talk about here at the end of the season as well. First thing I want to look at is a quick look at what seemed to be the most played players and also the roles in the last 10 to 15 games that we played, and also looking at some of the statistics that we looked at in the mid-season as well. Moser, he took over as the goalkeeper, with Ingvarsson as the most used wingback on the left, Killerits the left-footed central defender, Leifson on the right side, and Schönerlund was an inverted wingback for the most time. Yep, and we do have another player in the defensive midfield as well. Höfgartner took over as the main man on the defensive midfield here, with Sommer in the box-to-box role on the left-hand side in the central midfield, and to my surprise, Vestergaard still playing as the Masiler on the right. That is a big surprise to me, at least. Injay might have been the best player in the period of time we played here, as he take up the winger role on the left, and Ishar, when he finally got over all of his injuries, he was kind of the main guy on the right-hand side. And up top, of course, it's still gonna be Mikkelsen tapping them in with his head. In the average rating department, I think we have 4 players that are kind of standing out a little bit to the rest. Injay, definitely 7.09 is really, really solid in this kind of... He only was there for like 14 games, right? And those games were really hard to play. So 7.09 there, really, really good. Tunander, he was mostly a sub, but he did manage to go for an 6.99 average rating from all his games, of course. In Gungo, he didn't play a lot here near the end, because he didn't really play a lot near the end, but still fairly good rating here. Sommer, yeah, just really good average rating throughout the season. Now, here's the thing, right? Of course, the promotion group is a lot harder to play, and that's why the average rating have gone down quite a bit. But if we take a general look at the lowest ratings, they are still fairly good. I mean, we have a couple of players down here, like the last one here, our goalkeeper on 6.71. But as we remember, again, 14 games, and all those 14 games were really, really hard. So I think we are looking fairly good in that department. I'm not too concerned about the average rating, to be honest. In terms of points per game, it is the same names right now. It is Isuner up there, it is Vestergaard, it is Killerich, so exactly the same as the mid-season. All those defensive players in there, but even though they do not have the highest ratings at all, they do bring in the points. Another one that is very interesting to see up there is Sebastian Sommer on 1.51. With his rating, I would go as far as to say that he might be player of the season, at least. to me. The board have set the initial budget for next season to be exactly where it was as before, 28k, with just a very small transfer budget here. And it is not really that surprising because the projection was fairly right in this case, as we ended on 800k in, well, bleeding red. The last thing in this episode we're gonna look at is some of the things in this season review kind of thing the game is giving us, so let's go ahead and check it out. A last look here at the competitions. They wanted us to be an established Nordic bet team. Yeah, I think we managed to do that. 4th position, of course. Most goal scorer is Mikkelsen. Board confidence is A-. That's perfect. So we can see the table over here. We got the schedule. That's lovely. And what about Pokalen? Well, this is like a FA trophy, maybe FA Cup kind of thing. There is not a lot of money in it, so we went out fairly early. We had a couple of good games in it, and then we were up against Silkeborg and lost 2-0. It is what it is. Moments to remember: that 6-0 win against Ian. I don't know what that club is, but yeah, okay, sure. I mean, that's it is what it is. And then also a fairly big win against Hobro as a 4-1. I actually think the win that we had that was against Fredericia 3-0, that was a way bigger win, but okay, fair enough. And then we have goal of the season. Let's go take a look at that one. All right, so here it is. Summer on the edge of the area here. It's probably gonna be, oh, I think we already saw this, didn't we? Vestergaard into the, okay, well, that's the goal of the season. As you can tell, I was not exactly sure if that was goal of the season, but all right, I think some of the other goals we saw earlier in this episode, well, actually that was only one, and also in the earlier episode, I think some of those goals were better, but hey, it is what it is. This is kind of interesting, the finances. So we actually did not have an annual revenue of anything before we came in, because of, you know, how the game works. So sponsorship 933k. That's pretty good. That's the entire wage budget basically for the year. That's pretty good. Broadcasting, cooperative, competitive prize money 1.5 million. That's also decent. I think we're okay in that department. I don't know if this was actually part of the projection or not. I don't think so. So we might have more money than I actually think we do. Match day, commercial and retail, not a lot. Ingvarsson was actually the most sold shirt. That's interesting because he only came in 14 games ago in the winter transfer. But yeah, okay, fair enough. Moser, Leifson, Mikkelsen and Isuner as well. Okay, sure. And here is the games version of how we lined up. And that is, of course, the entire season. I agree. Yeah, Jensen is in there, right? Jensen is in there. We lost him, but he's in there. We also got a couple of interesting... Moser and Hofgartner still get in there, even though they only played. And also NJ, I can see why NJ is in there, but also Hofgartner in there is kind of interesting, probably because of his average rating. And also Moser only playing 14 games compared to Pedersen. Was it Pedersen his name was, the other goalkeeper? Ngungu also in there, yeah. Alright, well, it's okay, interesting at least to see how they think the best players were throughout the season. Last but not least, this is how we're gonna end the episode, with looking at the player awards. And I guess I was right. Sebastian Sommer is winning the Fans Player of the Season on 7.0 rating. Yeah, I completely agree with the fans here. I think he was the standout man throughout the season. Very, very consistent player for us. I really like him. And young player of the season Ngungu, 24. Okay, maybe Jensen would have been the one, but okay, fair enough. I don't think I agree on that because he's 24, but all right. Signing of the season NJ, yeah, I guess so, because he came in pretty late, of course, in the winter, and he did do a lot of good things in those really tough games in the promotion hunt. So that, yeah, definitely signing of the season for me as well. Vestergaard, goal of the season. Yeah, we already saw that one. Top goal scorer of Mikkelsen on 9 goals. Not a lot, but it was spread out on quite a few players, I would say. Sebastian Sommer, most assists. So yeah, that leads into him being player of the season as well. Pretty good from the midfielder role, box to box mostly. That is interesting to see. Most player of the match awards for Sommer. Okay. Highest ever rating was Ngungu. No, that's not true. That was NJ. What? Sorry, what? How is... Okay, but no, that's not true. Most pass completed per 90. I'm not sure why that is even in here, because is that something that we need to know? Okay, 51 completed per 90. fair enough. I mean, that's... maybe it is worth a mention, I don't know. Don't really care about the record breakers, at least not yet. Maybe next season we'll look at it. Just to see if they break anything from this year. So you can take a look if you want to. But last thing, I just want to see the competition awards. Nothing in there. So there we are, guys. That is gonna be the end of the season and the end of this episode as well. Next episode we are basically doing the same as we did in the first episode. We're going into, but of course it's gonna be a little bit more interesting this time because we're gonna have a lot happening with a lot of players moving out, a lot of players moving in, lots of staff moving out, a lot of staff coming in, and there is going to be a ton to do. Hopefully I can keep it down below 1 hour. That's my aim. So anyway, I hope you have enjoyed this season and this episode, and I will see you in the next one.